All right, well, I pushed it pretty close to the end of the month, but my comics review is here. Not long before I go pick up my October batch, but you know what? I got it in during a day in September, so that's all. That's all that matters. First up, one lonely issue of Void Rivals, number what was it? 22. We got twos today. So the story continues to reach its boiling point. I think we're about to reach a resolution. So it starts out the with a brief little a couple panels, pages of panels of the GI Joe enemies, like Pythona and Gracula, the one that had that living armor kind of growing on her. They're sneaking into Quintessa and trying to land there undetected, while all these Quintessan ships are arriving and stuff like that. But in the meantime, Pythona's like, where is Gracula? Have you seen her? And one of the guys was like, I don't know, I haven't seen her for a while. She was out whatever, doing whatever last time I saw. So Pythona goes to find her and finds Gracula struggling with this living armor that's been growing on her. And they end up getting in kind of a little scrap to get the armor off of her. And it does finally remove it, come off of her. And Pythona's like, okay, what is going on? And she's like, I don't know, that the armor's like changing and shifting and becoming sentient or something. It kind of reminds me of like the symbiote, like Venom, you know what I mean? And so Pythona's like, okay, this is out of hand, let's destroy it. And Gracula's like, no, it means us no harm, it's fine. And then you can see Pythona kind of like, and that's kind of where that sequence ends. Most of the rest of the issue is dedicated to the war that's going on Agoria. So the Zertonians have invaded, led by Proximus. And so we've got Hot Rod and Springer on the ground leading the Agorian ground forces. We got Derek up in a starship leading the aerial forces. So Salila ends up coming face to face with Proximus, and they end up having a one-on-one battle that rages throughout this ongoing huge war theater on Agoria. And so Hot Rod's talking to Springer during the battle. He's like, what, this, you're struggling with this little guy? Like Proximus he's talking about? He's like, oh, trust me, he's tougher than he looks. But I thought I did him in when I removed his arm and his leg last time around. But, he's back. So the war continues to unfold on Agoria. They get some reinforcements. And then interspersed between this action, we see the scene shift to Skuxoid, who has been brought before the Supreme Skuxoid, the king of the Skuxoids. And he's like, there's something different about you. Like, you keep questioning things and resisting things, and you seem stronger than the others. So they start talking about the nature of all these Skuxoid clones or divisions that happen. And the king of the Skuxoids is like, I think you're like the first time I split. Like, I'm Skuxoid Alpha, and he's like, I think you're Skuxoid Beta. And so the Skuxoid that's been causing all the problems is asking the King Skuxoid, like, I have all these visions and they seem like they're mine, but they must be yours, but I can't live with them. He's like, my family, my wife, my kids, like, are they all right? Where are they? So the King of the Skuxoids is like, we don't talk about that. And so eventually he loses his patience and he's like, take him to the divider. So then we see him being dragged off when that sequence ends. And then the issue ends with the ongoing war on Agoria, when all of a sudden, all of the Zertonians and Agorians all, like, they start, like, holding their heads and their helmets are coming off, and Hot Rod and Springer are like, oh, they all have Energon ports in their foreheads because they have these little diamond things in their foreheads that have to do with Energon. And so everybody's like, what the hell is going on? And then on the very last panel, we see the Proximus guy going like, Unity, it begins! So I think we're about to see something big happen, perhaps coming out of the ring around the planet that, you know who's being kept in there, right? So I think we're going to see a conclusion, if not to the whole series, but to at least this big, long first original story arc in the next, I'm going to say 1 to 3 issues, depending on how far they drag it out. But I've been waiting for a long time to see how this all plays out, so I can't wait for October's batch. Next up, as usual, 3 issues of the Turtles. First up, issue 28 of the ongoing Saturday Morning Adventures series. So if you remember in the last issue, the Pantheon was getting unhappy with Hobbs' leadership, saying they could take down the Turtles where he's failed so many times, and like he was like, go ahead. So last issue, it was the dragon guy, Draco, I think his name is, that tried to get the Turtles and ultimately failed. This time around, it's, oh shit, what was the guy's name? He's like a tentacled nightmare monster thing. Golgotha. So he ends up getting the Turtles in some sort of like trance where he's playing with their minds with some machine that he has. So he's feeding them all these visions and dreams that are keeping them all kind of in their own heads and like, you know, out of commission sort of thing. So basically he's got them like, oh, it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Day parade and everybody's there appreciating them. But then the tide turns and people start turning on them and hating them. So they have to run. And then they run into this girl that's like, I can help you. But she's singing everything. And so the Turtles are like, this is weird, but they're within this dream. They can't get out of it. So in the meantime, Splinter calls for April and is like, April, something's wrong. Like the Turtles haven't checked in a long time. Like something's happened. So, and he's like, I can't get around the city that quickly without people noticing a giant walking rat man. So she's like, gotcha. So they take the news van and they suss out where this Golgotha creature is. So they raid him and Master Splinter, leads the charge and starts taking the piss out of Golgotha, but Golgotha eventually gets Splinter under his mind control too. But then April comes in after Splinter and beats the Christ out of Golgotha and wrecks the little machine he's using to cause these trances for the mutants. As I think his little scheme only applies to mutants. Like the hypno trance didn't apply to a human like April, so she was able to come in and save the day. So eventually they break free. They fight Golgotha and he scurries off into the sewers, and the Turtles have once again ruled the day. Oh, sorry, Fuzz. I wake you up? I'm sorry. Next up, issue 9 of Mutant Nation. So this is as usual, 2 stories within the issue. The first one, the Turtles are after Hale, District Attorney Hale, the bad guy. And Leonardo's gung-ho that they're going to get him because they haven't really had a clean chance at getting him. So he's supposed to show up at this parade that's taking place in Chinatown. He does show up, and the reason for him being there is to approach the leader of the Ghost Boys who run Chinatown and reach some sort of agreement, as Hale has with all the other neighborhoods in New York, about, you know, protection money. You know, he's basically taking from them in order for them to stay safe and quiet, right? But the leader of the Ghost Boys is like, yeah, nah. So then she goes, not gonna happen, and I've got my own protection force here, so you can, you know, fuck right off, right? So then she unleashes the Dog Star Soldiers, who we saw earlier in this series, or maybe in one of the other series. So then obviously things come to a head. The Foot and the Dog Star Soldiers start fighting. The Turtles are up on the roof looking through a skylight at the whole thing. And Donatello, who has the little dead rat that he's convinced as Master Splinter, is like, guys, we gotta leave. We shouldn't be here. This isn't gonna go well. We need to pick another time. And Leo's like, no, this is our chance. Like, Hale's right there. So then Leo forces the issue. It doesn't go well. And during all the fighting and stuff like that, humans are put at risk. He ends up having to make a choice whether to go after Hale or save some humans from being killed and all the as collateral damage. So he chooses to save the humans. And during this process, he realizes, yeah, Donnie was right. I let my bad judgment and my need to get this guy to cloud my judgment on keeping, you know, the public and everybody else safe, sort of thing. So so they escape to the sewers after everything is kind of settled down, and Leonardo is like, you know what, guys, there will be another time. We'll get him another time. And right as that first half of the issue ends, one of the Dog Star Soldiers, I think the leader of them, is like, ooh, these mutant turtles, I need to learn more about them. They could be good allies, sort of thing, right? So I have a feeling that the Dog Star soldiers are going to be approaching Mr. Leonardo about a partnership, and obviously turtles are going to say no. At least I assume so. Last up, issue 11 of the regular ongoing Turtles series. So in this one, remember they were in the courtroom on trial, put on trial by Hale for all their crimes against humanity. And in the last issue, April O'Neil and some protesters were, just about to raid the courtroom. So before that happens in this issue, the first couple pages, we see Hale scurry into Karai's hideout or headquarters, and Bebop and Rocksteady are guarding her door, as they have been for so long now, because she's in there doing weird stuff. We knew she's turning into the dragon thing or whatever it is. And Bebop and Rocksteady are like not impressed with this Hale guy. They think he's an asshole, so they're like, okay, she didn't want to be disturbed, but go on ahead, go right in, go get yourself in trouble, right? So then he disturbs Karai, and Karai's like, Hale, what the fuck? And so then he kind of describes what happened. So basically in the courtroom, the protesters broke in, and everything was out of order and crazy. And then Donatello's like, I'd like to call our first witness. So they call up all these protesters that are going to act as witnesses, and all speak to how, this turtle, he saved me from this, and this turtle helped out with this. They're not criminals. They need to be freed and released, and they're the good guys. And so they all have personal stories about how the turtles did them good in the recent past. And then finally, after all that, April is kind of the ace in the hole. So she went and raided Hale's safe and got all sorts of evidence. So like Raphael was blamed for killing the warden at that prison he was being kept in. They have security footage of Hale actually ordering his Foot Clan to kill the warden. So like Raph is all of a sudden, he didn't do the murder. Like, what the fuck? What else is there? So then they show when Hale was given the chance to kill that mutant that had killed his parents or something like that, and he murdered him in cold blood. They have evidence of that. So April brought all this evidence to bear that points at Hale being the asshole, right? So he runs with the foot soldiers or the Foot Clan and escapes the courtroom, and then he orders all the Foot Patrol to attack everybody, and they're like, you know what? No, we're not your stooges anymore. You're an asshole. So then the Foot Patrol basically bail on him. So then that's why he has scurried off to Karai to be like, it just, everything went wrong, and the turtles are going to be innocent, and now everybody's after me, and the Foot Patrol, your Foot Patrol that you gave to me aren't following my orders anymore. And she's like, shut the fuck up, Hale. You can solve this yourself. And then she's like, Blah! And she turns him into like this mutant freak creature that kind of looks like Krampus. If Krampus had like one lobster arm claw thing and a whole bunch of other shit going on. So that's right at the end of the issue. That's the last thing we see is like this mutant version of Hale like charging down the street, going after the turtles to get his revenge on them, even though he's the one who's the complete asshole. So yeah, in issue 12, I think we're going to see a big ass fight in downtown New York to kick off the action. Can't wait.